Okay, it's Amy from Two Oaks Farmstead, and I just thought I would do a quick video. I've been telling everyone about my broth. I keep mentioning it, and I haven't done it on video yet, so I thought I'd go ahead and do that. It is a cold, yucky day out there. I haven't left my house except for
Thursday?
when I got myself hooked up with the galoshes and went out to the freezer. But it's yucky out there. I don't even want to go out there. So thus, this is the look for today. Good thing I'm not a fashion blogger. Okay, so this is how I do it. This is the easiest way to do broth. Broth is so easy, and we use it so much. I mean, I go through the broth. But I use this cool electric oven thingy, electric roasting oven, I think is what it is. And I just go ahead and get it out, put it on the stove, and I've already got a couple pitchers of water. Put it on the counter anyway. I've got a couple pitchers of water already in it. And from the chickens that we recently harvested, I've been putting them in bags, like the carcasses. I put them in like the grocery bags, tie them up, and stick them in the freezer so that they're ready for me when I need to make some more broth. You got them ready, Bubba?
Yep.
Go ahead and slide them in here. So we've got a couple of carcasses here. I'll do anywhere from 2 to 4, depending on how big they are. We got a couple right there. So we're gonna throw those carcasses in. They're already cleaned. I clean them up before I freeze them, so they're ready to go. And now, why don't you go ahead and grab the celery. It usually varies how much I put in, but I'll show you here. I use the tops of the celery. You don't eat those anyway. And so I just chop them off, and then I use the bottoms of them as well, and I just throw them in there like that. Now, go ahead. I've got my helper over here. He likes to help in the kitchen. I've got a bundle of parsley. It's actually really a third of a bundle. The bundle that I bought, this is the third time that I've used it for broth. So I've been making broth like that. Okay, so we got some broth in there. Go ahead, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw some more water. We're gonna fill it up, and this thing is gonna cook overnight, and it's gonna cook probably half the day tomorrow. And in fact, it'll cook down. The water in it will cook down, and I'll get up in the morning and I will add a little bit more water to it. Now we're also going to put in, get a handful of carrots and throw in there. I use these little baby carrots. A lot of times I have those on hand for making stews. It's so much easier than peeling carrots. And right now, we've already used up all the carrots that I grew, every single one of them. We just used our last jar last week. We were all very sad.
Not good.
Yeah, that's plenty. So we just, throw in a small little handful. Now, we've got peppercorns. Pour up 10 to 15 peppercorns. Just sprinkle them in there. Nah, a little bit more than that. You didn't count that. Do a little bit more.
You said 10 to 15.
Okay, there you go.
That's probably 15
And
right there.
the last thing that I'm going to put in there is salt. I'm just going to spread it all around. There we go. Now, I'm going to reach in here and kind of push that around. I'm going to put the lid on it. I'm going to turn it on. It'll probably cook at 300 or so to start. And then I'll turn it down tonight, probably about 250, and let it cook all night long. It'll cook all morning long. Sometime midday tomorrow, I'll come in here and I'll turn the video camera back on and I'll show you the process. When I pull everything out, I strain it through my old-fashioned jelly sieve, and then I can it up. And it is such an easy process. It's a quick can. I use a pressure canner, but it only takes about 30 minutes to can the jars. And I'll show you guys that. And then we will have more broth. Hey guys, I wanted to stop real quick. I showed you when we were putting this broth together in the roasting oven, and I wanted to show you kind of where we're at on it. I'm going to be canning it this morning. Got the lid off of it. If you could smell it. It is I've added water back to it because it cooked way down. What I'm going to be doing first is dipping out all of this goodness that has been flavoring my broth. I'm going to dip it out into a bowl. I will throw this out to the peacock and chickens and stuff. They really enjoy this, especially the peacock. But you see, I've got pieces of the carcass there, and then of course the celery and parsley and carrots and stuff that we had. So I will finish dipping all that out here in a sec, and then I want to show you this. I've got a stock pot here, and I have an old-fashioned jelly sieve that is just, I've got it kind of sitting on it. It fits perfect for this pan. And this thing, once I get everything dipped out, then I take a great big glass, it's like a 4-cup measure, dip in there and pour it through. And what happens is it strains out the other little bits, so I'm left with a fairly clear liquid. Now, if I wanted to strain it even further, I could put a little cheesecloth in there, but the teeny tiny pieces don't bother me, and it would take a lot longer to soak through as well. I'm kind of in a hurry. Now I want to show you this. I'm going to go ahead and get that turned off. I've got my canner sitting here ready to go. It's boiling right now. I'm just kind of heating up and stuff. Got water in it. It's boiling, getting started for me. And I also put the lids for my mason jars in here, brought them to boil, turned them off. I'm just going to let them sit there in that. It helps to sterilize them. And then also the little rubber ring that's around it, it softens it so that when we screw the lid down on it, it kind of makes a hollow in it and really seals against the top of the mason jar. Normally, I put my my jars in the dishwasher and let them run through a cycle, and then they're good and hot and everything, but they already ran through a cycle. I wasn't quite ready yet, so I've got them in the oven at 200 degrees. I'm about to turn it off, and they'll just sit there and stay warm. They will just sit there and stay warm until I'm ready. Now, I'm getting my stuff set up. I've got my funnel and my jar grabber, and I also have this neat, nifty little magnet stick, and that's what I lift the lids out of the hot water with. I'm about to go get my rings that I close everything up with and get this going. I will actually show you what I'm actually doing for the canning process when I get ready for that. But I didn't realize, honestly, how many women do not know how to can. The way I grew up, canning was normal. That's just what you did. You grew a garden and you canned it up so you had food for the winter. And I've known how to can for a really long time. My sister and I both just can everything we can. And I've got lots and lots of stuff in there jarred up. I didn't realize that so many people do not know how. So I believe that I'm considering, I've had a lot of people ask me to teach them how to can. I think I'm going to do a little class out here locally and bring some people out that would like to come out and learn to can. I'm going to bring them out and show them, because, man, I tell you what, if you can, if you grow a garden, even if you just have a container garden where you grow a few things, the ability to can it up is huge. You do not waste money on food when you can the things that you grow. So anyway, I'll be back here shortly when I'm ready to start pouring this up and getting them in the canner. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and start pouring it up into the jars and getting into the canner. Now, this is the part that always scares me. It's hot. That steam comes off of there, and you do not want to be anywhere near it. Okay, so I've got my stuff laid out and ready to go. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a jar out of the oven. You want to be sure on your jars that none of them have little nicks or cracks or anything, especially up here at the top. But I mean, if they have a crack, what'll happen inside the canner is it'll bust. So you want to be careful about that. I've had several busts, and that's fairly normal. Now, I poured up my broth, as much of it as I can get in here into the stock pot, and I've got it turned on to keep it warm. You want to do hot liquid into hot jars and then put them into the hot canner. That's important. Okay, so I've got this ready. Get my ladle out. Warm my funnel, and I'm just going to go ahead. Now, I'll tell you while I'm doing this, while this was going, a lot of times like any fat that's in there will start rising to the surface, and I just take a spoon and kind of dip off. You know, it's not going to hurt it if some fat's in there, but I dip off what I can. You know, it's easy to dip off at the top. We want to put this in with an inch of headspace. We want to leave an inch of headspace at the top. And that's where we are. Now, a lot of canning recipes, you still have to add, like in a quart jar, you typically have to add like a teaspoon of salt. But this, I don't. The recipe itself had a lot of salt in it. It's fine. And so that's ready. Now, I've got a rag. I always keep a rag here that's half wet, half dry. You always want to wipe off the rim after you do that. Make sure that this makes really good contact with the flat. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my flat with my trusty magnet stick. Center it on there. Get my ring. Put it down. And you just do it finger tight. You don't want to over tighten it. You just do it finger tight. Then I grab my can grabber and I set it down in here. Like I say, a canner will typically hold 7 quarts, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to can up all of them and then get it going. For something like this, you put the lid on and get it going. Actually, I think I'll show you that process as well once I get the batch in there. So that's where we are. I'm going to finish pouring them up into the jars, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got my batch of broth into the canner. You can hear it kind of boiling and sizzling and stuff. And I don't know if you can see this. Mason, come up here and show. There's steam shooting out right there, and this is a pressure cooker, pressure canner, obviously. But what I wait for is the steam. I want it to shoot out for like that for 10 minutes. Once it does, then I take this little thing. It's a weight. And I stick it down on there. That's what captures the pressure, and it all starts building. From the point that it gets up to the right pressure, which is 10 pounds of pressure, then I adjust the fire underneath it until so that it maintains the same pressure. And once it's at that pressure, I put on the timer. This will run 30 minutes. Broth is easy to can. A lot of my stuff is like an hour and a half that it has to be under that pressure, but broth isn't. So here in about 10 minutes, I'll cap that, put the timer on, and then 30 minutes later, we'll have a batch of broth, and then we will wait for it to come down, the pressure to come down naturally. Once it does, I'll open it up, pull them out, start my next batch.